Hello, everyone. We'll take a couple minutes to let more folks join the call.
Sounds good to me.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome. We'll be getting started in a couple minutes.
Thank you.
I couldn't let you be the only person with their camera on, Miguel.
What?
All right.
Sorry? Okay.
I
Okay,
just
well,
turned my camera on because you were the only person on the call with your camera on. I didn't want you to feel like you were alone. That's all.
it's okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to this month's contributor call for the Besu team. Little housekeeping is in order. First of all, reminder that we are under an antitrust notice. That notice is available in our wiki. I'll post a link to our agenda for the meeting in the chat, which also contains the link to the antitrust notice. This meeting is being recorded, it's being transcribed, and it will be machine summarized for later use. Please mute unless you are speaking. And if you have any questions, we have a raise hand feature, which is great. Honestly, it's no big deal. So, right off the bat, Alastria, welcome. We haven't met before, so we've talked over email. But if you'd like to introduce yourself to the rest of the community, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. I'm Miguel Calero. I'm board member of Alastria. I have a small presentation alongside with the P256 issue. So, yeah, we'll introduce Alastria in a minute. Also invited Vicente, Victor, Antonio, Alberto, and Alexander that are also part of the team working in an ISBE project that I will talk about in a minute.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you showing up. Um, So before we talk about P256, do you want to start off with that? We have some other news, but nothing too major. Um, Maybe 15 minutes into the call or so, you guys can have the remainder of the meeting time to talk about 256, if that sounds good.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
So
So for starters, we'll talk about Fusaka. Fusaka, the upcoming upgrade, is likely going to be delayed. We don't have any holdups that we're concerned about on the EL side. The Fusaka DevNet 3 is currently in a state of non-finality. The calendar looks a little bit tight, and as of right now, Fusaka has been pushed back to early December. We'll see if that stays or if that gets pushed even further out. So that's really just an update. No action required from anybody, and no real holdups on the EL side. So that's good. Let's see. Sunset plan. Let's see. Matthew, you are here. Great. I know that Banu is not going to be joining us. Removal of proof of work is still on the agenda. I know that there's a draft PR floating out there. We have yet to pull it in. One of our Australian colleagues raised the question, well, what about Click? So what do we think about supporting Click? What do we think about accelerating the proof of work removal? What are your thoughts? Matthew, I'll throw to you first. What are your thoughts about removal of proof of work and how it impacts Click?
Yeah, thanks, Justin. So yeah, I think removal of proof of work, yeah, I think Banu got it pretty close. And with him moving to a new role from Kaleido, I think he was commenting on some of his outstanding PRs. We're just gonna see if he wants to move them along. As an existing, he still obviously remains a maintainer. So our intention for proof of work is to move that along as Kaleido maintainers. We will keep an eye over the next couple of weeks before we start kind of getting actively involved in that. But we'd like to see it removed, obviously. For Click or Click, yeah. So I don't think I have strong views either way. Obviously, our focus for modularity was the BFT work, and in increasing the modularity of Besu by enhancing the plugin APIs where necessary in order to be able to move BFT algorithms into plugins. Again, that's an area Banu was looking at. He's got a PR which I think lays some groundwork for that. So we will start moving that along ourselves at some point. We don't. So personally, we don't see we don't have a use for Click. We don't recommend it for anyone, and we think that BFT for development use is fine. Single node or multi-node or whatever you need. I think I saw a mention maybe some environments use it for. Is it for tests? Maybe I can't remember if Linear use it for some tests. So I think our view is we don't have a strong opinion about it. It makes sense for it to go at some point. It's probably not going to be our highest priority in the very near future.
Cool. All right, thank you. Then I will continue those discussions. Sounds like it's next thing maybe we should plan for after proof of work comes out. We'll see how that goes. See what the community appetite for removing that is.
Sure. I think just one thing worth mentioning. I know Click has mine on demand, but I think we more or less have that in BFT now. So for use cases where mine on demand is useful, the Paladin open source project is using BFT in a fairly similar way, where actually we use the empty block period being set to quite big, so we don't really mine blocks when we're not doing anything, and then we mine really quickly when stuff comes along. So that may have been a historic reason for keeping it in. Sorry, just I'll go back on mute now.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, thank you. Cool. Glamstran planning. The headliners have been selected. We're going with BAL on the execution layer and EPBS on the consensus layer. We are getting exterior contributions for BAL, and we're already making great progress on that. So that's pretty cool. PFI is open, proposal for inclusion. So if anybody has EIPs that they want to advocate for, talk to us about it, and we'll see what we can do. That will remain open until we ship Fusaka mainnet clients. And then lastly, the project charter. There's an open PR for adopting a project charter. I did see a flurry of approvals this week, so that's great. That's awesome news. If anybody who is on this call and is a maintainer and you have not approved the charter, please either do so or raise any issues that you have with it on the PR. And tag, I would assume, David Boswell, we can tag you with any questions that folks have.
Yeah, if there's any questions, certainly let me know.
Thank you, David. We don't expect any because this has been floating out for a very long time. And if you had questions, you really should have raised them by now. So reminder, let's keep that conversation moving forward so we can get this done. And with that, that's all I have for the moment. Does anybody have any new business they need to discuss before we hand it off to the Alastria folks to talk about P256? No? Okay. Kaleido, nothing from you guys?
No other news particularly. I didn't add it to the agenda, but I'm working with Karim to try and get Archive State Proofs PR much closer to mergeable. I think that's the main update for now.
Cool.
I had one question again. This could be for later on. I was interested in polling who's going to be attending DevConnect in Argentina. Maybe that could be people drop that in.
Oh,
They are.
yeah, we're not sure. We can talk about that offline. We're not really planning much of a presence at the moment.
Okay, that's useful to know.
Yeah. We'll let you know if that changes, but for right now, assume that there's not going to be much of a consensus presence, at least.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to pass it off to our new friends, Alastria. Miguel, you want to take the lead there?
Yeah, let me share a slide some slides.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, can you see my document? My
Yep.
screen? No.
I can see your
Maybe
browser.
this
Yes.
is- Yeah, sorry. Yeah, now?
Yep.
Okay, so everything, all this conversation comes from a new project that was funded by Next Generation EU funds that is called Spain Blockchain Services Infrastructure. That's how the conversation regarding P256 started. But let me introduce you Alastria. Vicente, Victor, Antonio, Alex, we are members. We have part of companies that are members of Alastria, but also I am board member, and both Antonio and Alexander are working partly in Alastria. Okay, Alastria is is a blockchain platform. This is an association that were born like 8 years ago and is fostering blockchain adoption, specifically in Spain. The goals were in the beginning, but we still need democratize access to blockchain technology, strengthen public-private blockchain ecosystem, foster new economic models, development of blockchain networks, and gaining insights in the technology. Okay, these are the bold figures. Sorry, because the aspect is not well polished, but anyway, we are almost 500 members, 15 countries, mostly SMEs, but also public administrations. More than indeed 19 use cases deployed into blockchain networks that we are currently maintaining. The members are currently maintaining. We have invested a lot of time, all the companies being members of the association, competing, but also delivering together some pieces of software or either doing projects, okay, making some projects reality. Indeed, we have been working on public permission networks that you know for sure the topic, so I'm not gonna go deeper on that. Right now, we have documented more than 90 use cases with really mostly focused on materialization, identity, traceability, and tokenization. Tokens were not allowed in Alexandria networks for some time. Right now, I'm not sure about the policy about that, but that probably will change in ISBE. We have been working at an international scale also, pushing really strong for digital identity. Indeed, the first standard for self-sovereign digital identity all over the world was written and approved in Spain. And then we've been pushing and have strong presence in EIDAS2, in EPSI, and other, blockchain-related identity projects. Right now, we have two networks in production. One is the T network, the second one the B network. The T network released in 2019, 191 regular nodes. I'm not sure if these figures are up to date, Alex, Anton. 6 validator nodes, and working with it's now still running. Second one deployed in 2022 is Hyperledger Besu network, 49 regular nodes, 6 validator nodes, with some framework called Alastria ID for digital identity deployed, and also holding some European projects as well as private projects. Okay. That was a really quick overview of what's Alastria and how the networks are important for us. But in the last few years, we've been working with the public administration, trying to, both networks were still in best effort support mode. So we were trying to get funding to deploy some networks with the service level agreement that was adequate for corporate or for other companies and public administration. Indeed, that went to, we get funding alongside with the Comunidad de Madrid. So both Alastria and Comunidad de Madrid, we started to making a reality ISBE, that is the Blockchain Services Infrastructure for Spain. And what is that? The question, indeed, our goals were aligned with, we were really worried about SLAs, but also about regulatory alignment and regulatory compliance, because our experience told us that that was a friction for a lot of companies starting using these networks, not only for financial use cases, but also for other use cases. Okay, so our focus is regulatory compliance, so anybody can use the blockchain platform. But also implementing a governance model we thought or we think is lacking for blockchain, not for public only blockchains, but for public permission networks. Okay. So right now we're working on that. Our expected delivery is end of the year, 31 December 2025, as of now. Alexander or Antonio can confirm that. We expect to have to move forward that date to probably June 2026, but right now we have that date, that delivery date. So we have like around approximately 50 people working on delivering a plethora of networks and services that really confirm that ISBE, blockchain infrastructure, not only a network, but at least 2 networks and some services. So we are going to we plan to deploy 2 networks, and we are doing that. One is the BER network, focus on compliance, is what EIDAS2 describes as a qualified ledger, distributed ledger technology, QDLT. So as we have been involved in some manners in the implementing acts, we know for sure that the recommended curve or the mandatory curve will be one that is approved by NIST2, and that leads us to P256. Okay. The other one, there will be another use case network, more focused on typical public blockchain use cases. In that case, we are our challenge is to make it GDPR compliant, because in the last 6 years we have learned that that is really a stopper for blockchain distributed decentralized apps to be deployed by most companies and public organizations. So we have some approaches on that, probably shared with RBB or LACNet, and yeah, we're working on that. So as we noticed that P256 is mandatory, we started researching on that and trying some things. Yes, in the end, we know for sure that Besu supports natively P256, but as we need to have a network in production, we really thought that it would be great to have this conversation, so we can have some clarity on the roadmap and status of that support. Okay, and yeah, and we have some questions regarding that. As far as I know, right now we have been deploying some test networks, but yeah, before going further, we wanted to throw some questions and talk about that. Am I? You think it's? Have I explained myself clearly,
Yeah,
or
I
you
think
want any
you gave us a
clarification
pretty
for that?
good. Yeah, I think you gave us a pretty good outline of what you guys do.
Okay. So yeah, for us the question is, because we were talking with Daniela Barbosa and Thomas, and they said they were having conversation with the European Commission. So it was probably naive to think that we were the first ones, but we didn't know there were some conversations. So have you had, as contributors, P256 probably was implemented because of some logic, and yeah, is that a thing? Is that something that was
It
casual
is.
or optimistic,
Yeah.
or is more structural?
So I think we probably want to make a distinction here between transaction signatures and
Yeah.
curves that are available in the EVM itself. So as of right now, I don't believe there's any support for the R1 curve for transaction signatures. I don't know that that's on our roadmap anywhere, but might be an interesting thing for us to explore further.
That's actually, I'm sorry to interject, but
Yeah.
that's actually not the case. Besu supports R1 as the native curve for private chains. If you like, I think MasterCard is one of the clients for
Oh.
an R1 based Ethereum EVM, and the EC Recover that's implemented the precompile for recovering transaction signatures for R1 is implemented for that chain. The only network or the only customer client historically that I've been aware of that uses P256 is MasterCard. And I don't know in what capacity they were using it, but I think that they were one of our consensus team members was originally involved in getting P256 working in Besu before he even joined the team, Daniel Lerner. So it is supported. I don't think that it is widely used because I know that there have been some problems with P256 that we've discovered and we've just fixed along the way, and we didn't hear anything about it. So I don't think there's a big install base of the R1 curve for EVM chains on Besu. I know it exists, but if they exist currently, they might be like a few versions behind at times. Another interesting topic regarding P256 adoption is the Fusaka fork is going to support 256 signature verification. So I think that there's going to be there's going to be more support for that since the hardware enclaves typically support P256, R1 and not K1. So like the phone hardware security enclaves will support that. So I imagine, especially with the account abstraction, we're going to see a lot more of it. But as far as actual chains that are using R1 for their primary curve, I only know of the one, and it's a private network, so we don't know a lot about it, or private networks.
Thank you, Gary.
You bet.
So as of now, even when it's supported by the Besu, there is only one use case fully adopting P256. I'm understanding clearly.
That's the only one that I personally am aware of. Other people, like Daniel, the original implementer for P256 for R1 for Besu, might know of other implementations.
Okay.
That's just the only one that I'm aware of.
Okay. Is that for sure? If there's a way to make a quick catch up with Daniel, that'd be great if somebody can put us in contact. Okay, just to check that.
Yeah, Discord is going to be the best way to get in touch with him. He's not available at the moment, but I would start there.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, the other question is regarding everything around that. Okay, the current status and roadmap, as far as I understood, with the Fukusaka, with Fukusaka, that, if I understood correctly, will come end of the year. Is that correct?
At the
Plan
moment, that is
for-
correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I've been working
Yeah.
enough time in
Yeah.
open source or in software to know what, it's not a promise. It's just, a hope. So anyway,
Right.
yeah, but it should be expected end of the year. Okay. So with Fukusaka, I think we're working, or Besu is working more on deeply on that.
Yeah, I think
we-
one thing to point out though is Fusaka is delivering the pre-compile.
yeah.
To Gary's point earlier before, transaction signatures are already a configurable option in Besu.
Okay. Taking that into account, yeah. The other question we have is with tooling.
One second, Miguel. Before we move on
Yeah.
to the next question, I think Matthew's got a point to make. Go ahead, Matthew.
Sorry.
Thanks, no problem. Yeah, thanks, Justin. Thanks, Miguel. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to chip in that this has come up for us fairly recently around SEC P256R1. The place where we have observed conversations about it is HSM vendors, where enterprise users working with an HSM vendor are perhaps forming opinions about which signatures are more secure, and they are expressing interest in using R1 because of, I think, a perceived improved security. So I thought it worth mentioning that this has come up for us less so around people having a strong opinion about Besu running with transactions signed with R1, more so around organizations having an HSM where there is perhaps an indicated preference or opinion from the HSM vendor. But I just thought it worth chipping that in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the question about HSM vendors was also something that we explore, and of course, we think there's more offering regarding HSM for A1 than for K1, and also more advanced features delivering that kind of curve. So that's why also we wanted to explore P256. So thank you. I'm not sure who's talking, so
Go
I think
ahead.
we will have.
You can continue through
Yeah.
your presentation.
Yeah,
here.
we will have a transcription later. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, the other things that the other questions are okay. Is the if do you anticipate some major issues with the Turing ecosystem adopting P256, specifically Web3, yes, Web3J, Ethereum-J, and the Web3 signer? Because especially with the Web3 signer, we have some doubts if we haven't made any test yet. But we wanted if somebody else has uh, tested or have any experience, it would be great to if you anticipate some problems with that.
That is a good question. Let me ask around. I don't have a good answer for it, but I can maybe find somebody who does.
Okay. Yeah, there's some questions. There's more questions. Seeing if you see any kind of situation where we can R1 and K1 can coexist in hybrid networks. Yeah, taking into account that AOA, even when they have the same public address, it's gonna be tricky. Yeah, it's gonna be tricky. Okay, with the same the same public address, maybe not be controlled, but the same owner. If you use two different verbs, but anyway, that is something that we anticipate. Anyway, the last question, I think we will send you this. Sorry for the late send. I sent the presentation like 2 minutes before the meeting, so sorry for that. We will send the presentation right after that. The other question is, how can we help? Because we are investing a lot of time and effort here. Probably we will do in the future because there is a strong, you know, requirements to implement like needs to approve curves. So how can we help?
Sounds like Gary might have something to say. Go ahead.
Yep, just trying to use the proper feature since I jumped in uninvited a moment ago. I think that our the best way to contribute would be to start exercising R1 as a primary chain curve. If you have test networks, if you do performance networks, if you exercise the EC recover precompiles and so forth, and P256 verify, I guess is, I don't know if that makes much sense in an R1 chain, but yeah, I think exercising it and having test networks and performance networks and regression infrastructure out there would be very helpful, because this is a feature that's existed for a while in Besu, but we've found over time that if it is being used, it's probably being used like not at the head of the chain. It's not keeping up with main. These networks aren't keeping up with main. So if we break something, we don't know about it until we either stumble upon it or eventually somebody says something about it. So I think having good testing infrastructure, good CI around using R1 would be super helpful, because we're very, obviously we're mainnet focused, we're very K1 focused. So I think that would be the best place to contribute.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, fine. Yeah, we will do indeed. I think Alexander, we are doing that already, isn't it? Experimenting with the R1 curve, isn't it?
Yes, me and my team has we have tried to deploy the Besu with the latest version, and also with the previous versions supporting the R1, and we are experimenting in doing signatures, and we have been seeing the different drawbacks that we are experimenting, but we are still in a very very experimental phase to provide any consistent results.
Okay. Regarding that, the best way to communicate is the Discord channel, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So I will invite. I was already there for this hour participating or yeah around for the fabric for Hyperledger Fabric, but I will try to engage more people in the Elastic ecosystem in the Discord channel. Okay.
Cool.
I think, yeah, if we can have that discussions regarding developing, I think it's open discussion. We don't have anything more regarding that, but we want to make it happen, and we're gonna put resources on that. So
Awesome.
let us know how to best use that.
Cool. Sounds good. I will reach out to some folks on the Web3 signer team and anybody I can find with Ethereum J or Web3J, and ask them where P256 fits on their roadmap, and I'll get back to you via Discord.
Thank you very much. Yes.
You got it. Well, that's it for the call. Does anybody have anything else they want to throw out? Okay. Well, nice meeting y'all. We appreciate you coming and weighing in and giving us some feedback. So that's great. I'd like to see more of that, and we'll be working together with you soon.
Thank you for your openness and support. I'm happy to be here, and happy to contribute.
Awesome. All right. Well, then we'll see you around on the internet. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
you.